I have a dream that somebody we are going to talk about here in a second has fulfilled my dream. They backed up the dump trucks full of money. They showed up to your door. They gave you all the money you could ever need for multiple lifetimes to run a company. You make some changes, it starts a downward spiral, and then you retire. That is the legal pump and dump.
Okay, so let's.
So, for
Sorry,
everybody else,
yeah. You just
Pat
told me this now.
Gelsinger has, who is the former Intel CEO. So he technically retired on December 1st, which is yesterday, so Sunday. Retired is using a lot of heavy lifting here because he was fired. He's no longer on the board. He is out of the company as of yesterday, but he's retired, right? He's out living on the farm next to my old dogs.
I don't think he's had enough time to get there. This just happened very quickly. Hey, happy Thanksgiving, buddy. I guess you're out.
Today we are thankful for you not being here.
Okay, so two thoughts come immediately to mind. One is whether this means something with regards to Intel being acquired, right?
Yeah, there's a couple thoughts there. I mean, so I don't think you're wrong. I think that there's significant changes on the horizon.
I mean, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Their strategy change, right?
Yep.
So that's interesting. They did just get awarded
Oh yeah.
all that money from the government, so it's not like they're changing that strategy. So actually, I'm not even sure what they would change because honestly, that's anyway. So, but the second one is, he now joins this. I don't want to call it a select group of former leaders of companies who came in, did everything they could to save this ailing, once proud tech giant. We'll keep it limited to the tech industry here, I guess, and failed. And I don't think it was his fault, right? So who else falls into that category? I can think of a couple people off the top of my head. Stephen Ela at Nokia.
Mm-hmm.
Although, I know a lot of people disagree with that, but I don't think anything would have saved that. And Marissa Mayer, when she went to Yahoo.
Yeah.
I just reread. It's weird. I've seen this twice in the past. This interview is maybe 2-3 months old, but I just reread it last night, coincidentally. An interview with her. And basically, Jerry Yang said, "Hey, our apps have never been in better shape. Like we've never had a better set of services. You really did everything you could, and it wasn't you. Like it was just too late." And they ended up, they were saying there was a version of that story where Yahoo could have just survived as a standalone company and maybe should have, but you can't second guess what happened. Whatever they sold to Verizon. Is there anyone else like? Can you think of anyone else sort of
That's what
like
I was
this?
trying to think of.
Like these like a rescue attempt.
Yeah, because there's a lot of executives who left and started other companies, like Andy Rubin, right?
Mm-hmm.
That tried to start other tech companies. It just they never made a company.
That's a book in itself. Like these one-hit wonders who like are convinced now that they found the way, and
right.
whatever
The
that
fountain
thing
of
is,
youth sort of thing.
never works anywhere else. That's a whole business case study right there. I don't know. Those are the two big ones I that I can think of. I'm
Did
sure.
Anybody ever come back to BlackBerry? Alicia Keys.
Alicia Keys. No, I don't know. I mean,
yeah. IBM's still around, so that
maybe
really
Bobby
hasn't.
Kotick can come back and
Lotus Notes, baby.
Yeah, right. Huh. Well, I mean, this is like, in other words, this is a rescue. Like you brought in a fixer. The idea is that
he didn't fix it.
Yeah, he's going to come from the outside. He's got his experience, whatever, or her experience, their experience in whatever other company, and this is going to be what helps solve the problem. And those are the big ones. This might.
Well, there's only so many big companies that exist where you could. I mean, this would be like Amazon going off the rails and Bezos coming back, sort of mentality. To fix it, right?
Yeah,
But okay. Amazon's fine.
That's another one. The founder comes back. The guy that founded Gateway, what used to be called Gateway 2000. I feel like his name was not Ted Waite, but it was something like that. Maybe it was that. I don't know, something like that. Came back, right? He tried to do that. Michael Dell came back and took
Oh yeah, that's a
Dell, public, and I don't remember the order anymore, but they went public and not public, right? Bought
that
VMware, no longer own
that's
VMware. That's
potentially like the anti-matter to like some of these people, right? Because he did come back, made dramatic. That should be the name of it.
dramatic. That's a good
Dramatic
way to put it.
changes. That is a
I
word for
like
the
it.
ages.
Yep.
Dramatic changes. They went through
Yep.
a lot of roller coasters, and now they appear, at least on the surface, to be doing okay.
hmm But this is, I was just gonna say, I was thinking about Nokia and ELOP, and I was like, well, this is the Intel might be the biggest version of it, and I think historically, but then it's like actually maybe not. Like right now, Intel might be like their chip business, whatever, might be worth less than Nokia was at the time. Like at one time, Intel was much bigger, but even from a historical perspective, Nokia, long lived, decades, whatever. Those are very close. Yahoo had fallen pretty dramatically, but historic still. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, that's crazy. I always I feel bad in a way that he didn't have a chance to see this through, and I wonder what we don't know. We just saw the worst quarter the company's had
Hmm.
maybe in its entire history, bar one like in the 80s or something, and maybe that's not all of it, right? I mean, they've stumbled really badly.
Oh yeah.
And I'm just from like reviewing laptops, like just from like my little stupid worldview, like I've been worried about these chips for a couple of years now. Like I had those, I think it was, I'm losing track of the numbers, but 11th and 12th or 12th and 13th gen, whatever it was, where I was having all these USB-C hub problems. And then with Meteor Lake, where it's like, what is happening here? And then I just wrote this over the weekend, like, we've come so far in such a short period of time that like you review a laptop that has Meteor Lake and not Lunar Lake, and it's like, oh, thank God, this thing is way more stable
Hmm.
than the Lunar Lake thing. And it's like, this is not what it should be like. Like, that's not the conversation you want to have about new products. Like, the new ones should always be better. And I don't. They sunk a lot of money into that and came up with kind of a, I don't know, high
Well, at least they're
profile
sticking to that
hairball.
architecture, right? So it makes
Well,
me wonder
that's what I
too.
mean. Like,
Like there's two other big things, right? Acquiring or
mhm.
whatever, but there's been rumors of them spinning out their foundry business. That I don't know how that ties into that chips business where they just got $8 billion. There's that. I think for sure though that their GPUs are probably going to be done.
Oh yeah, yeah, yep, yeah. That was never going to happen. The thing that's kind of, I don't know, sad, weird, whatever. There is their integrated graphics have gotten dramatically better.
Mm-hmm.
Meteor Lake and Lunar Lake, I would say the one shining, no holds barred, like actually this is a net positive, is the integrated graphics. Like that stuff has gotten very good. Not as good as the APU stuff that AMD is doing. This is a weird thing, dude. AMD basically just signaled that they are going full bore into the data center AI chip
Yeah.
cloud, blah blah blah. Who gives a crap, right? But this Intel thing is such a huge opening for them in the core market they've been in since the 90s, maybe even 80s. I don't know. Anyway, certainly early 90s. Um, and right now their eyes off the ball, from my
Mm-hmm.
perspective, which is goofy because their Zen 5 stuff is fantastic. It's fantastic.
It is.
Just last night or yesterday, I played Call of Duty on a ThinkPad T14. Is that right? Yeah.
I
Yeah.
sure.
No, I'm not asking you. I'm
I'm
sorry.
thinking
Uh,
T1000, but yeah.
no, T14, which is just a standard business class
Mm-hmm.
laptop. It's not even an Ultrabook, just a normal, but running AMD, latest gen. Awesome. It's awesome. Like I'm not saying it's gaming PC awesome, but honestly,
Yeah.
for most people, close enough.
Well, speaking of video, so here's you ever get so mad at a company that whatever. Anyway, so over the break, I confirmed that you were correct that I should have switched to Clipchamp a long time ago. This is
Oh,
this is what I did over the break.
okay.
So as previously on a previous episode, we discussed how I could not get Adobe whatever Premiere Elements to install.
Yep.
Whatever. So I finally found the 2022 version that I needed through, I'm sure this was hosted on a Russian Raspberry Pi right outside of the Cosmodrome or
Yep.
something. Because if you host any of these files, Adobe DMCAs all the links out of Google. I found the files and like going through all these steps to get it installed. Once it installs, there's like a splash screen that opens up where you have to enter your license key. They intentionally disabled that web page, so you cannot activate it. However,
What?
yep. So there are workarounds.
I
Again, whatever. So I just eventually was like, fine, I'll just buy the new stuff and it'll just make life easier. And then I got on their webpage and I was like, no, Adobe is not winning this time.
right.
So I uninstalled all this crap, refused to give them another dollar. Now, there were a couple problems with Clipchamp, one of them being that you cannot export to MP3.
Oh, yeah. Right.
I found a solution and I created whatever. So here's what I did.
What's the
Here's what I did over the
workaround?
break, which people then informed me that I was doing it the wrong way, but that's how you learn. So I was like, there's got to be a way to solve taking an MP4 file and turning it into an MP3 file. I know
Yeah.
Python vaguely well, and I was like, let's do this with Python. So I wrote a little Python script that would allow you to, you run the script, it gives you a little pop-up, says pick the file, you click the file, and it converts it to MP3 using FFmpeg, that framework.
Okay.
And as I was sharing this information with the world, somebody said, hey, that's fine. Like you can do it that way, but you can do it with PowerShell. So what I've done now is I've written a script. So when I export a file from Clipchamp, it drops into a folder. I hit a single button on my keyboard. It runs the PowerShell script. That script takes any MP4 file in a folder, converts it into MP3 in like 30 seconds, and I'm done. And so now I can use
There is
Clipchamp.
something wonderful about Clipchamp. I actually pay for this. I don't know if I ever
you?
mentioned this, but yeah, it's like $11 a month or $12 a month, and but you can store everything up in their cloud, so you don't have to worry about any assets.
Yeah,
stuff
see, I
or
don't know if I need. We'll see. We'll see how far I get down the rabbit hole with this stuff. There's a lot of
Yeah.
nice things about it. There's some
I'm not,
things.
I'm not. I didn't mean to try to say you needed to pay
Yeah.
for it. I'm just. It's absolutely fine if you just like you do these things so quickly. You do one every day. I mean, it's like so like you throw it together and you're done. Like you obviously have a folder somewhere that has whatever assets you reuse for every episode, and that works fine. Like there's nothing special to do there. It's good. Like with normal Clipchamp free.
Anyways, that's what I did over the break. Is I kind of
I spend weekends like this myself, so I can this like completely. I'm like, yeah, no, I've done this. I went through this. My problem with Adobe was that I was in Mexico at the time, and there was no version of any laptop, software or hardware rendering that would output accurately ever. Like I couldn't. You would sit there and wait for it to render the video, and then you look at it, you're like, okay, it's good. Oh, no, it isn't. There'd be like weird glitches in it. And that's what drove me. I tried things like DaVinci, whatever that is.
DaVinci Resolve.
Oh my God, which is like a 747.
Yeah, DaVinci Resolve is the nuclear solution to I need to trim the front and back of a clip because it's movie theater production and quality application.
I do and I don't regret that I spent the time to figure out how to just do video editing and make that work because it's just a time-consuming, thankless process. But I guess today, I mean, I might look at something like I think it's called CapCut. Is like a little AI free thing, something. But Clipchamp is awesome. Like Clipchamp looks kind of silly, almost like like a kid's tool or whatever, but it really works well. And it does like a lot. Like it's kind of amazing how much it does, and they improve it all the time. It's a great app. Really, Anyway, well, okay.
Yeah.
So
there are downsides to it. For example, if you don't like their templates that they have for various things, like whatever, like the intros we use for First Ring Daily or whatever, because I was actually trying to make a new outro, and it's like if you don't like, it's the Henry Ford model. If you don't like the templates we have, you can have only those templates. You can't go create one where with Adobe products, I could probably go create one outside the app
and then bring it in as an animation or whatever, or just a little video clip. Yeah. Yep. And maybe that's the best thing. You don't get 4K output for free.
Right.
That's one. And then there's like branding things you get like when you pay for it that Not even spent 1 second looking at because I just don't care about that kind of
Yeah,
thing.
the
But
branding one's even more weird because it's like you'll get the same
exactly.
colors and everything else. Well, anybody who's ever done branding would not be making their product in the
In
Clipchamp. Like you would
Clipchamp,
be
exactly. You come to it with those things.
right with those
Exactly.
assets, and all you're doing is
Yep.
putting them
That's
together. But
exactly right. Yep. And I think you probably get more uh, stock images and videos and whatever, but I don't need that stuff. So
yeah.
anyway, yeah.
Anyway, I am pleasantly surprised. I hate the name,
Yeah. Yep.
but
You should.
it works. And so, if this audio is not good, you can go to One
Brilliant,
Redwood Way.
It's Jeffrey Stover's fault. I think we just Jeffrey can be reached at Jeffrey at.
Now he's at Google.com.
I know. I was gonna say Google.com probably. Yeah.
So, anyways, Intel dropping the bombshell for December, and
Wow, that is incredible.
yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah, no one does.